What's up guys, it's Dave Fish Eat Repeat here, aka Kiwi Sangnamja. I had a few people on Instagram hitting me up asking me to do a full video on how I break down and butcher a kingfish. So this is what we're going to do. We'll start off with just a quick intro of how we catch a fish. Then we're going to move on to running a wire down the backbone to break down all the nerves, improve the rigor mortis stage and get that beautiful soft flesh for sashimi. Following that, we're going to come home. I'm going to show you how to scale the fish using Josh Neeland style. And then I'm going to break the kingfish down into segments. Finally, I'll show you quickly how I freeze the fish using vac packing, and then hopefully make it right to the end of the video, and I'll show you how to stake up some of the frozen and then defrosted kingfish, and using a Korean marinade, have that over noodle noodles. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so firstly we got these kingies using live baiting with Epic Adventure Charters. Beautiful. Now obviously this is not a kingfish, this is a New Zealand kahawai or Australian salmon, and unfortunately the skipper didn't icky jimmy the kingfish. So this is just a quick example of what I would have done. You place a spike in the front of their head. As the mouth pops open, you know you brain spike them correctly. This brain spike ensures that they die quickly and they stop shuddering and improves the rigor mortis stage. Now, after you icky jimmy the fish, you're going to want to shinke jimmy it, and we also bleed it as well. Now, we found the most effective way to bleed it is to run the knife through the gills on both sides. Just be careful though, make sure you've tied off the fish if you're putting it over the side. Shit. Now the next step is shinke jimmy. This is where you get a long wire or monofilament fluorocarbon, and you get this wire and you pass it down the spinal cord, which is just above the backbone, like in the diagram here. The point of this technique is to break all of the nerve endings along the spinal cord, which stops all the muscles contracting and significantly improves quality during dry aging, freezing, or just eating fresh. Now the technique takes a bit of practice, but even though you've cracked it, when you see the fish twitching as the line runs up the spinal cord and breaks all the nerves, just like this. Following that, you'll see a colour change where the fish goes from coloured to white and opaque. Now, unfortunately, something went wrong with the GoPro, so I missed the gutting of the kingfish. So we're going to jump back to the same kahawai that I've ikijimi'd before and show you how to gut the fish. Now, the only good thing is you can see that it's not just kingfish. Any long, slender fish will be gutted pretty much the same way. So what you want to do is very, very carefully start the knife at the anus, make a small cut. Run your thumb in there, try and cut to the side. You do not want to nick any of the internal organs, especially the gallbladder. Stomach juices or bile juice can significantly affect the flesh, which can give you off flavors or off smells, and then long term it can actually lead to bacterial issues and food poisoning. Now once you've opened up the stomach cavity, you want to run your knife up past the gills and through the throat and cut all the way through. Now I managed to actually film the next part, so we'll jump back to the kingfish. Hey guys, just dropping in. Hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. If you're enjoying my content and you like what you see, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and also please turn on notifications as well. Thanks guys. Let's go back to the video. Now the next part is relatively easy, but you still do need to be careful. You've got to get your hands dirty, you've got to get them in there, rip the gills out, and then very carefully remove the guts with the gills. You know you've done it correctly, and there's no stomach juices dripping out of everywhere. It's all in one nice piece. Then, if you have salt water on hand, you can wash out the stomach cavity. If not, you can just dry it with a paper towel or simply just throw it onto the ice slurry. And that is one thing I really need to highlight. You should always be trying to keep your fish cool, either with ice or a pre-frozen ice pack, to make sure the flesh sets and you reduce any bacterial growth, you reduce smell, and it will have a significant impact on the freshness and the flavour of the fish. Still very much on ice. This is going to be beautifully chilled. Already gone into its rigor mortis, already been ikijimi'd, bled and gutted and gilled. Should be premium fillets. This is what we're using today. Got a Victronic Swibo filleting knife. This is the knife that I'm probably going to use for scaling for the fins. Budget little scaler here, not sure if it's going to work. Now just a little life hack for you guys. You would have seen before, I just wiped this all down with the same jacket I had yesterday fishing, and this is still absolutely filthy. Haven't cleaned it. If you're going to do filleting the following day, don't get rid of all your fishing clothes, just whack them back on so you don't have to clean once. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, start with the fins I think and go from there. First things first, wipe all that slime off there, clean that right off. Same thing on this side. So we'll just cut off all the fins.
What the shit is that? Oh, that's huge. I think it is a New Zealand native weta. Oh, I hate insects. We'll just get rid of this. Alright, I'm not gonna kill it. Ugh.
So rather than the traditional scaling method using a scaler or simply skinning the fish, Josh Nealand's style is to very carefully cut the scales off using a knife.
Like that. This is something I've never done before. Oh, look at that, it looks like a snake. So you need a very sharp knife, thin blade. Check that out. That's crazy. Did not think that was going to be as easy as that was actually. That is very, very cool. Well, I'm just going to keep doing this. This could take me a while. Well, as I thought, that would be quite difficult. So this is my honest attempt. You can see I didn't do a great job. I didn't lose any flesh, but I did cut through that kind of scale layer into the skin. So I've exposed a bit of flesh there. It's not going to chill as well because it doesn't have that nice protective layer, but I'll wrap it up in baking paper anyway. Bottom was done really well. It was a lot easier. Just need to learn how to come from this side. Really good thing about this way is it's really low mess. There's actually no scales. They're all caught up in there. It's a learning curve, guys. Hope you're enjoying. Well, that one worked well. Miracle if I can do the rest like that. I think I'm getting there, guys. The trick is to really press hard down on the back of the knife. Keep the blade up and just go as flat as you can across the skin. Oh, it's always exciting learning these things. Always exciting. So I'm just trying to hold this fish in the air here. Keep that blade really hard up against the skin. Just easier said than done. But it's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad at all. Oh, very cool. Holy shit. One side is always easier, eh? Doesn't matter if you fill it in or scale it. So that's the first side. Obviously not as great as it should be, but the second side, I'm very impressed with myself, not gonna lie. Basically perfect, fully scaled. So now all the moisture can seep out into the paper that we wrap it with, and we can get this dried.
Now I'm big on no wastage, so I'm going to give away the head to a friend of mine, turn that into a beautiful meal.
That's the old stomach there, already been gutted and gilled. Take the wings off, take the belly flap off.
And then the rest I'll cut into 3 equal sections, which will be perfect for freezing.
See what happens. So there we got a piece of the backbone or neck, whatever. Just have to find where it's going to break. There we go, look at that. And we just cut through there. Turn this over. Just need to find, oh there it is. Oh, don't do that. We'll flip the knife. Ways to blunten your knife. Slam it aggressively on stainless. So to cut off the wings, you just want to find that joint, and that's just there. Just put that knife through there, easy. Boom. Cut around. Bone in there, you can just feel it, and you just run your knife down there. Easy as that. Do the same with the other side. Again, kind of bend it. And knife through there. Just run it where it goes, I guess. You just don't want to force it. Boom. Put the tip off there, you got the bone just there, you can see that. Around the wing. Cut that off. And if you guys want to see how I sharpen knives, I'll throw the link down in the description below, and I'll put a link in the video. That's your wings. I'm just not happy with all this here, so I might sacrifice a bit of meat, because that's all bloody. I might just keep that separate and just cook that up later, because any blood on your meat is not going to be good. Try to find the blood just down there on the backbone there, the stomach cavity. Just work all that out. It's going to take a while. We'll see when it's cleaned up.
Now we're going to remove the 2 belly flaps.
Through the top. Got to find an individual segment. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And there, you got your bone marrow. That's one beautiful piece of meat. So you can see there's a backbone just there. Cut through that. Well, there you go, guys. That is a completely butchered dispatch kingfish. It's not as clean as old Josh Nealon would do, but that'll do for me.
Now, the only step I'm not going to include here is dry aging. Dry aging techniques use all of the same starting techniques that I've used here, but this video is about how to butcher and freeze fish, and on another video, I'm going to show you how to dry age fish.
Hey guys, just a quick one to follow on from the butcher. Backbone fillet of the kingfish here. These big bones running through. Fish pin bone puller or fish deboner. I can't do it with one hand, but I'm going to pull these out. And it just retains that whole piece of fillet there. Yes, I pulled the pin bones out, and then I just got my sashimi knife there and just trim that extra blood layer off. So you've turned kind of a bloody middle backbone fillet that you might even turn into wastage, into just a beautiful eating fillet. No wastage, guys. Try not to waste your fish.
Now, with a bit of trial and error, I found the best way to freeze fish is to wrap them in a paper towel. If you don't have a paper towel, use baking paper. Then put them in vac bags and vacuum pack them. Now, the reason I put them in paper is that it absorbs any moisture during the freezing process and actually also adds that secondary layer to reduce the chance of freezer burn.
Now this is defrosted. Look at that colour. Just let that defrost nice and slowly overnight. Oh, it smells great. That's what you want. So, even though I've tried to cut this as little as I could, you can still see moisture leaking out of all the cells that was cut. And even on this side, when I opened it, that was the crappy skin side. Leakage a lot more than on that side. So the less cuts you make, the better your fish is going to seal. The less seepage you're going to get. If you guys are ever trying to cut a steak, you're going to locate the middle of that backbone there. And it'll just cut straight through.